Community Minister from Queensland. Hello, Grace.
Hello, Bill.
Welcome along to Unity of Melbourne.
Thank you. Nice to be there.
Nice to have someone from our Queensland branch here.
Yes, indeed. I not like being with you guys, as you well know.
Yes,
And
yes.
I've spent a lot of time over the years with love with so many of you. I'm just looking at faces up there and going, oh, love them all. And it's good to be here today. It's a grey, cloudy day here. I hear you've got sunshine down there. And we've got a change in weather here. We've got grey, cloudy, and it rained a lot in the night. So what about that? Anyway, it's great to be here, and Change Happens is the title of my talk. And that song, the songs you've chosen, Bill, were absolutely wonderful to fit in with the whole message of the changing times. And I just want to say that I've had so many changes in my life, I couldn't begin to tell you any of them in full because it'll take too long. But I'm sure that looking at the faces up there and knowing some of the people attached to the faces, I know that lots of us have had changes in our lives. And nice to see you're back, Leslie. That's great. And it's great to be here with you today. One of the things is that, change happens, but we notice that the world and the cities and in our experience, our own experience, they all go through changes. The world goes through changes, the cities go through changes, and our experiences go through changes. And we have to check within ourselves. The only thing that matters about the changes, now hear this, is what we do with it. The changes will go on. They'll go on in their own way, but what we do with it is really the most important thing for us. We can go into misery or we can go into ecstasy or whatever. But our take on the changes is what's the really most important thing. And so we're going to be doing a bit of that today, a lot of it, I hope. And I just want to say to all of you, please just open your mind to the fact that whatever you think about the word God is okay in unity. It doesn't matter what you think about it. But I'm going to share with you that when I use the word God, I am talking about the creative energy of the universe. And now they're telling us it's universes. I'm talking about the creative intelligence in every speck of the universe. And that means every speck in our bodies, every cell of our bodies has the presence of the creative energy of universal love and light and what have you within it. And everything we have about us, our bones, our tables, our chairs, our teddy bears, whatever we've got around, our televisions, every speck of them has got the creative energy within it. And if you think about it, everything that we can possibly see has come from an idea that's been in the idea of man, that has come through, that has been put into presence and practice, hasn't it? You may all nod. Thank you. Thanks, Catherine. That's lovely nod. Because we all have got the creative energy within us. And everything we have here has had creative energy from humanity within the situations. And of course, the different varieties of humanity have different ideas about what they think the creation should be. So then we get the conflicts, and they're to do with that. But everybody's been a part of everything that's gone on. Does that make sense? I think it makes a lot of sense. It makes me quite happy. God's the creative intelligence of the universes, and he's in unity. We encourage a daily practice of the spiritual understanding and the spiritual realities of life. And so one of the things we can do is to be very aware of practicing the presence of universal creative energy, the God of our understanding, whatever that might be, within every part of our bodies. I do it. Some of you know I live in a retirement home, and so there's a corridor all the way down from my room down a corridor to a large recreation room, and then there's another corridor going down to another wing, and da 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 da. And as I'm walking down, sometimes I'm wondering, I've got plenty of time to do this while I walk down the corridors. I remind myself I am walking with the presence and power of God in every cell of my body as I walk. In my legs, the presence and power is there. In my feet, in my body, and in my head, in my hands. And I practice myself as I'm just walking down the corridor to do something with practicing the presence of God. Because I'll tell you quite honestly, the more I practice the presence of God and the more I'm aware of that, the better life I have. Now, I'm going to interrupt this whole prospect with something I wasn't intending to share, but I was 45 years sober in Alcoholics Anonymous on Thursday. 45 years. And I had a wonderful, wonderful afternoon at the women's meeting yesterday, the Saturday afternoon, where everybody was jumping up and down and shrieking and carrying on. And we were all having lots and lots of fun. But the thing was that they got it, a lot of the younger ones, with much less time up. And some of the very new ones said, boy, if I can be like her when I'm 45 years sober, wow, won't that be great? And they were getting the sort of message that the older generation has got something to pass on to them. And that was what they enjoyed seeing. So that was nice. That's just a little something I'm just throwing in there. And now let's get back to the talk, Grace. Putting in things you weren't talking about doing. In the newsletter that Bill sent out, we had elimination and renunciation talked about, and I got some very good stuff from that, and I'm going to share some of it with you in this concept of changing our lives by changing our minds. Elimination, release, removing, denying, denouncing, letting go. These are all words and expressions to do with letting go, with elimination. Elimination means letting go. Let go of stuff we've used and needed. We can let go of the thoughts and conditions and substance in our consciousness through the generations that we've lived. We can just let go of it. We don't have to deny it. We just have to let go of it and say, oh, I don't need that right now. This might not be what I need. And be willing to admit that they've been useful in our consciousness, in our bodies, in our lives, and that they have served us very well, these ideas that we have in our minds, but we may no longer need them. So we are willing to let them go and see if we're going to need them again or not, because we don't have to hang on to all the old ideas. We can look at the new ideas that come in and the new substances for daily use and let go of the old. That's what it says in this article. We can let go of things and look of the old and look for the new. Remember the weeds in the garden? We used to have gardens, all of us, I'm pretty sure, and we pulled weeds out, but we didn't pull the plants out. And we pulled the weeds out so that the plants could grow better. Well, it's the same with the thoughts in our minds. The thoughts that we have been brought up with. Some of us, I've got some thoughts in my mind, I promise you, that were put in when I was probably 3. I haven't got rid of all of them yet. They pop up and I go, whoops, that's an oldie goldie. I don't need that one. And I can look at something new. And we all have all sorts of belief systems in our minds that go back to our childhood and the way our parents brought us up and the way we thought they brought us up. Because we thought that they were doing this, and this, and hurting us this way, but they thought that they were doing this, and this, and helping us grow up in a different way, didn't they? Yes, nod. Your parents all thought they were doing the best for us, but we often thought they were doing the worst for us. And that's the way it really is. And I know that my own kids had the same thing with me. It's one of the joys of being a grandmother. You can see how your kids and your grandkids are growing up with different ideas going on in their dear little heads. Anyway, so we need to remove the weeds out of the garden and let the new ideas in our consciousness come up. If we have, well, just to hammer this point a little bit more, if we have all sorts of old ideas and convictions in our minds, we can't accept the new things as they come in. I'm sure we all experienced that when we came into New Thought, whenever it was, because we were hearing different things sometimes from what we'd heard in our previous training. And I can see Bill nodding like crazy because he'd had a definite training in another way. And we come into unity and we hear things and we go, oh gosh, I've got to accept that. You mean God is good and I'm good and everything's good? Oh my goodness, what on earth are we doing about good? You know, and we all have things that we have to face that we are not used to. So we let go of the old with elimination and we remove the weeds and we go into practicing and honoring our power of balancing. Now, this is the important thing in making the changes work in our benefit. Be aware of the balancing and practice the balancing. We don't have to say, no, well, I think this is a new thought, so that one's absolutely rotten, I'll throw it out. We just have to say, I don't think I'm going to believe in that right now. I'm going to look at this one and see how I go with believing in it. We don't have to be rotten about our past thoughts. We have to look at them and say, yeah, well, that did seem to make sense, but I think this makes better sense, bigger sense. And so it's a very good idea to do the balance, receiving and giving. We receive something and then we give something. We see how it works if we give it to someone else. If we receive a happiness through something, a suggestion, and we think, oh, yes, that's giving me a happiness, and then somebody else comes up with something and we give them the suggestion, it's looking at whether or not they will get it, but we're giving them the opportunity to have the satisfaction that we're experiencing. Does that make sense? It's really hard not having people in person that I can wave at, but the balance is receiving and giving, and then laying hold and letting go. So we can look at denials and affirmations and how to use them. Letting go, affirmations of letting go are about elimination and to help us grow in spirit. Now, when we are looking at the whole concept of letting go, I would really recommend very strongly David Hawkins' book called Letting Go. And David Hawkins was a very, very wonderful teacher for many of us and many people. And he wrote this wonderful book called Letting Go. And it's in paperback and you can get it. And it's got wonderful ideas in it. And he's right along with our spiritual beliefs. I can promise you that is part of it. And he was just great. And it's a good book. But we think about what we want to achieve and know that our consciousness, our behaviors, and our style of being, and our attitudes and towards and about people and situations is really important to our way of being. I don't know whether you've been confronted with that, but I have over the years. Periodically, I get confronted with this. Wow, my way of being. Look at where my attitudes and where I'm putting my thoughts and where I'm doing my stuff and what am I doing, and on and on and on I go about the stuff I'm doing. And I have to check through it. And if it's a weed in my garden, I have to pull it out and say, I'm not going to have that running around my head anymore. If that pops back in, I'm going to say, no, thank you, I don't want you now. No, thank you, I don't want you now. And just put it out there into a little special garbage bag. And we have to look at our feelings towards people. Now, if there's anyone in this whole group that has always liked and loved and appreciated everyone that they've ever had in their lives, would you please raise both your hands? No hands up. It's really impossible to like, love, and appreciate everybody on the planet. It really is. However, it's very wise for us to look at what we wanted to achieve in connectedness with people. Did we want our consciousness to be connected with people? Did we want people to understand what we were saying? Did we want people to agree with us or be part of us or willing to be part of us? Did we want, our style of being? Did we want the way that we operate on the planet to be the way that other people behave towards us? Did we want them to understand and appreciate the way we behaved, even if they behaved differently? Did we want them to be able to talk with us about the different ways in which we behaved? And when I found that I have that with friends, oh boy, the friendship gets so deep, so real, and so definitely not a weed that I can really carry it in my heart forever. And then situations, all right. Well, we all live in situations, don't we? Don't you have situations in your life? Hands up if you have situations. Oh, good, everybody's with me. We have situations here in this place where I'm living that happen all the time. And I walk down the corridors and I spend time with people who are on different viewpoints and have different situations that they believe should be there, and they're not here. And we have different things going on and different opinions about them all the time. But they're all expressions of God mind, of the creative energy of the universe. And when I'm feeling I'm amongst these people who've all got these disagreeing things and what have you, I promise you, I look at them and think about them when I'm in my room, think about them and say, you're expressions of Godness, of the creative power of the universe, and I am not able to judge you in any way, shape, or form, except that I know that you are another example of the presence and the power of universal creativity. That's all I can do. If anybody has any better ideas, please contact me afterwards and let me know what they are. But I just have to know that these people have their own connectedness, their own world with Godness, with creative energy, and every cell of their body is full of creative energy. So whatever's going on in them is going on in them. And individual people on the planet all have their own plan of connecting with the one presence and one power. Each one. I don't know how many million people there are on the planet, but each one has an individual way of connecting with the one presence and one power. And that's amazing to me. So it does help me, particularly living in a community where there are people around who have different opinions from mine and have different ways of living and different things that they approve of and don't, because I can know that they are connected to universal creative energy. And when I see them, no matter what they're expressing, they are expressing their version of the creative energy. Does that make sense? I can see it does to Bill. It's really, really comforting. It's very, very comforting. Now, the Middle East drama that's on at the moment, we've all got memories of up reports on the past with both sides. And we really don't know. We don't know which side is right. We don't know what is right and wrong in this whole situation. but the creative intelligence of the universe does. And there must be a power greater, much greater than myself, that is bringing something good out of this apparent mess. It's a devastating mess for us to look at. They're showing us on the television, and mercifully, I don't watch the television very much at all. But when I do walk through and it's on, I have the horror fits. But I have to keep on saying the creative energy of the universe is in charge of all of this. And so we know that we can not judge what's going on. It's impossible for us to judge what's going on because we don't know the facts of everything. And we don't know the creative intelligence that is working with the people concerned. But we can trust it. This is where we have to learn to trust. And I'm inviting you thoroughly to go into trusting that the creative energy that creates the universes is in every cell of your body. If we get that into our fat little heads, we'll get somewhere. We will find ourselves feeling in the creative energy. I am one with the creative energy. Every cell of my body has creative energy within us. So let's take some time now to do that within ourselves and to work with it all together. We don't know all about everybody and their souls, but we do know that everyone is on a spiritual path. And our spirituality and understanding grows only and excessively when we are letting others have their own way of living. So would you like to join me in a time of reflection on this subject? And if you will, I invite you to close your eyes and take a nice gentle breath, not a particularly deep one, just a gentle breath. And just feel where it goes in your body. And then, if you will, take a deeper breath and let it go further into your body. And allow yourself to relax into the breath. And the breath is showing us that life changes, experiences change, behaviors change, situations change. Lots of them, heaps of them all the time. And that creative energy of the universe is always there. So if you will, just spend a moment or two right now to tell yourself, the creative energy of the universe is within me. And we feel that creative energy. We feel it in our legs and our feet. We feel it in our stomachs. We feel it in our lungs. We feel it in our hearts. We feel it in our hands. We feel it in our necks and throats. We feel the creative energy in every cell of the flesh on our faces, in every hair of our heads. And we know that we are experiencing the presence and the power of the Spirit of the Divine that is within us. I am one with my spiritual oneness. I am one with the creative intelligence of the universe. And every cell of our body, every hair of our head, every muscle, every part of our bodies and being are filled with this energy. And then we look at our mind. And just for a moment, allow yourself to float in a couple of people that you might find difficult to get on with. And allow yourself to say, they're just expressing the creative energy their way. The creative energy is still with them. The creative energy is influencing them in their way. And then come back to allowing the creative energy of the universes into our own minds, where we are feeling and enjoying the presence and the power. The presence and the power and the pleasure of the universal creative energy. Can you imagine being the creative energy of the universes and thinking of the pleasure that goes with creating? And we have that power within us. So it's our job to think more and more, what are we wanting to create? What are we wanting to create in our lives? More peace? More love? More understanding? More compassion? More kindness? More open-mindedness? And we are ready to eliminate judgment, thinking we are the right people to judge everyone else. And we are not judging ourselves. If we make a mistake, who can fix it? We can. If I make a mistake in my thinking, who can change it? I can. The power to change, to eliminate and prosper, is within each one of us. And so if we think about all the people in this group that we are sharing with, we know that we are sharing the very same energy. And as we drive ourselves home or go out into the big wide world or look outside or anything outside and see other people, we know they are in the same creative energy. We are not alone. And when we think about the people who are apparently in conflict overseas, we say, we don't know, we are not to judge who is right and who is wrong. We are only here to look at ourselves and find the creative energy within us and send it to all our brothers and sisters on the planet Earth. So let's take a moment and hold our brothers and sisters in our hearts and allow the love to flow. And we know that creative energy is in every cell of our body, in every part of our minds, in every part of our beingness. For we are part of the creative energy of the universe. And we know that as change occurs, we can handle it. And as we decide we want to change something, the creative energy of the universe is with us to help us change and grow in a greater understanding of our oneness with our friends and fellows on planet Earth, in the universe, and throughout all eternity. The power and the presence of the Christ consciousness is with us right now and all day and all tomorrow and all the rest of our lives. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen.
I'd like you to keep that silence for a minute as we go into a song, and we'll thank Grace after the song. Thank you, Rod.